I'm your host, Keith Andrew, along here with Armand Diesso, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Oh, you're very welcome, bud.
Now, for people who want to know what uncensored is, uncensored is my way to show people that even with learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, turning myself into a perfect example for people out there deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair, that you should never label yourself or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still amount to something no matter what. And it's all about proving people wrong. And with that being said, so that's a half-hour, 45-minute conversation. You can say anything you want, curse if you want to, and let's just jump right into it. Starting off, what can you tell me about yourself?
Well, I've been a physical therapist for 16 years. I currently own my own facility with my sister, called Performax Physical Therapy and Wellness. We're located in Deer Park, New York. We've been doing this for about 2 years together, and we've been doing really good. And, we help a variety of different people, from sports injuries to strokes to, spinal cord things, and some minor even pediatrics to some degree.
All right.
I personally am into bodybuilding and physical fitness for, pretty much my whole life.
Alright, well, you brought up two good subjects. The first one is, how did you get into the work that you're doing?
Well, I got injured playing football when I was younger, and I had to go to physical therapy myself, and kind of liked it. It was in the medical field, and it wasn't something that I was going to have to be on call for, or nobody needs emergency physical therapy, so it kind of was like my job is over when I leave type thing. So I got involved because of that.
Alright, and you also mentioned you are a former bodybuilder. How did that come about?
Well, I used to be overweight pretty much my whole life, the first 30 years of it, and then I decided to change my life and get healthy and get fit, and it's a lot of work, so I wanted to put goals, to attain, to make, keep me motivated and whatnot. So I started doing I did 4 competitions.
Do you miss it?
I'm sorry?
Do you miss being in the competition or not really?
Yeah, it's kind of, I haven't changed the lifestyle too much. I still eat and train kind of the same. There is a potential to throw my hat back in the ring maybe one more time. We'll see what happens. They have masters divisions. Now I'm 38, so.
Now, when you mentioned throwing your hat back in the ring, you mean as a professional wrestler or just work?
A competing bodybuilder.
Well, you're never too old for that.
Yeah, well, it's easier said than done.
Now, the other question I was going to ask you is, let's see, you're looking for a good subject. Where do you stand on legalizing marijuana?
Where do I stand on legal? Yeah, I'm pretty much against that. I'm not a big marijuana guy. I would worry about the consequences of that. What would happen? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's easily available now if you want it, I suppose. But I don't really know. I'm not super political. Just another government regulation, I suppose. I don't know.
Alright. Now, I support legalizing marijuana because you look at it like this. It improves your memory, and there's no really any defects from it, unlike drinking and smoking that causes cancer and liver damage. We never hear anything from that from smoking weed. It's actually probably good for you, healthier for you to do that instead of drinking all the poison and smoking and everything.
Well, that I'm not sure of, so I know a lot of people who've done pot for a long time, and they don't seem to have good memories. I don't know. That's just personal experience.
What about, is there anything that motivated you to become a bodybuilder?
Again, to diet and try to change, I ended up losing about 60 pounds naturally, no surgeries, no fancy techniques, just by diet and exercise. And then once I got down there, I wanted to just take my body to the next level and see what I could look like. it's always been a fear of mine. I was always the guy who didn't want to take the shirt off if you play in gym. I always wanted to have my shirt, not skin, so to speak. So it was a big step for me to get up on stage in a little mankini, kind of conquered a fear.
Now, when you were in high school and college, were you a party animal or study nerd?
I was certainly not a party animal, and I wouldn't say I was a study nerd either. I was kind of just a normal guy. I mean, I played football. I was always involved in things, but the whole drinking and drug scene was never my cup of tea.
All right. What about for people who want to know what your shirt says? Is that the name of your company or the thing you're representing?
Yeah, that's the company. That's Performax Physical Therapy and Wellness. That's me and my sister's company.
Oh, that's really cool. Do you sell like your own merchandise, or is that just your thing?
No, we usually give out promotional stuff with our logo, shirts, water bottles, bags, and that type of stuff. We haven't found the need to sell it. No.
Alright, well, just an idea after the show I'd like to run past you. Now, the other question I was going to ask you was, with everything going on with the Ebola case, what's your personal opinion about it? Do you think eventually it's going to disappear and people will forget about it and move on to something else? Or do you think it's just the media trying to scare people?
Well, I think the media is definitely involved in scaring people, but I also think they could have handled it a little bit better. I don't know why they had to bring people with Ebola here. I think we could have quarantined them and helped them where they're at. I don't see why we're bringing it to the States, to be honest.
Right.
It could be an epidemic, I suppose, if people get it and start going on the subways and in the schools and, spread it that way.
That's true. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is about who influenced you to become a nutritionist and a bodybuilder?
Well, the nutritionist the reason I did is because when I did my first contest, I had a coach, and he kind of guided me through. And he didn't really give me the best of advice, so after that, I wanted to learn how to deal with it myself and be my own coach. So I wanted to get the sports nutritionist certification. And again, as far as bodybuilding, it was just the goal that I had in my life. If nobody really motivated me to be a bodybuilder.
All right.
I mean, as far as like professionals that I liked, I always liked like a Sean Ray. I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I don't know if you can see on the wall behind me, the picture in the middle is the good old Arnold picture.
That's pretty cool. Now, what about... Now, let's see, just looking for some good questions. Where do you stand on illegal immigrants?
I'm sorry, what do I think about illegal immigrants?
Yeah, where do you stand on the whole subject?
I think we should send illegal immigrants back or make them citizens. That's where I stand on that.
Alright, what about anything that you get criticized about a lot, that you feel passionate about, or how do you handle criticism?
Well, luckily I don't really get too much criticism, I suppose. But, I don't know. I don't really care what people say. That's how I deal with it.
Alright, what about just looking up some good questions? Are you into reading books, or are you an audiobook person?
I'm not really either. I would be more into looking at like a Sports Illustrated or a bodybuilding magazine as opposed to reading a book. And really now with the internet, really I just look on my phone.
Now, you mentioned you look at the bodybuilders magazines. You're talking about the women, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. I'm talking like training articles and diet advice, that type of stuff.
Alright, what about if you could have a dream date with anyone from history, who would it be?
So a date like with a woman?
Right.
Just going to dinner. Oh my God. I take Marilyn Monroe, I think. I'll go with her.
I would say probably. And there's a lot, but I would say probably Lucy Liu. I would start off with.
Why Lucy Liu, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, like, I just think she's very interesting, you know, she's outgoing.
Good enough.
What about, do you have any favorite bands that you rock out to, or any bands that influenced you?
Well, music I like to listen to, say, more towards training. I would say I like Metallica, Disturbed. If I'm just driving in the car, though, I'm a Little Wayne fan. Free Weezy.
What about, if you could have a drink, same question as before, but if you could have a drink with anyone from history, even if you don't drink, who would you want to have a drink with?
That would be Schwarzenegger. Easy. He would have to be, if I had an idol, it would be Schwarzenegger.
He's a good actor, but I'm more of a Sylvester Stallone person.
Oh, yeah. I don't like him because of his acting, but I do like his movies.
Alright. Now, with everything, with the technology evolving over the years, how do you feel about it? Like, for example, you said you never did this before. Do you think it's better than, it's kind of like being in person, but it's not?
Sort of.
So, where do you stand on the whole technology? Do you think we're going to reach a point where it's got to stop, or it will continue to evolve?
Oh, I think it's going to continue to evolve. I'm getting used to it. Like now through business, I've gotten more into Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. But I'm pretty much not a big computer guy. Like, so I'm learning. Like I said, this is my first time doing FaceTime. I don't even have a Skype, sorry.
Now, do you have any funny stories or anything you want to share? Have you ever worked in retail before?
No, never retail, but I have not necessarily a funny story, but we just had a massive Halloween party here. The whole staff dresses up, and we had a whole bunch of good things happening. And with this, we had a guy who had a stroke walk out of his wheelchair for the first time in a few years, so that was pretty important and pretty big. It's not really funny, but it was something that was moving to us, you know?
No, it always is.
Right.
Now, you mentioned you had a Halloween party. What did you dress up as?
We were Ghostbusters. I was Venkman.
Well, I don't know if you remember the conversation, but I did say you can dress up. You know, one thing about the October theme that I really like is catering to the Halloween.
Right.
So every interview I get to do in October, you get to dress up. So I make it different, but whatever.
Right.
Now the next question
is, I'm in the middle of a work day, so I couldn't dress up.
What about? Have you ever been? You mentioned you're from Deer Park, New York. Have you ever been to Woodbury Commons, or you're not a Woodbury Commons person?
I believe I have been there, but I'm not really a Woodbury Commons guy. There's one right here, there's an outlet right here, and then there's another one in Riverhead. I would be quicker to go there. Banger stuff.
That's true, you're not missing anything.
But they're all the same, right?
Pretty much. So what motivates you from day-to-day life?
My children. I have 2 kids. Eva's 8 and Dominic's 4. They're the reason for everything.
Alright. Yeah, how's it feel to be a father?
The best feeling ever. It's really great. You can't imagine how much you could love something else.
What is the most exciting thing? What gets you the most excited about life?
Most excited about life. I guess really I would go back to the kids. Seeing the kids happy makes me pretty excited.
Alright. What life lessons did you have to learn that you appreciate now, but you didn't appreciate back then?
my sister were kind of handled a little bit differently. She was a little bit more spoiled than me. I had a little bit of more buy your own car insurance, drive to school, not fly, the type of a thing. But I think it made me stronger and more independent. So I didn't love it then, but I'm thankful for it now.
All right. Well, what do you wish you knew 5 years ago that you know now?
5 years ago, I don't really have anything so much in 5 years ago. I wish maybe 10 years ago I was more into keeping myself healthier and in better shape. I have aches and pains now that I ignored back in the day that I wish I took care of.
For me, I would say I would have started my talk show a lot sooner instead of waiting so long.
That's a good thing.
Now, the other question I was going to ask, what beliefs do you hold dear to yourself?
What, I'm sorry?
Yeah, what beliefs?
Oh boy, what beliefs? I kind of believe in just being a good person, treat people how you want to be treated. Be a good dad. Hard worker. I hate laziness. Lazy doesn't fly for me.
The next thing I was got to ask you is, what activities do you never get tired of doing? And sex is not an activity.
If you do it right, it is. I do not get tired of training. I think it's going to be rain. I also like playing video games with my daughter. I don't seem to get tired of that either. Skylanders, I don't know if you know of it, but it's a pretty cool game.
Heard of it. What about anything you have done worth remembering now that you say it's the greatest thing you ever did and you would never forget it?
Oh boy. Well, I guess my greatest personal accomplishment would be the bodybuilding. I mean, aside from like having children and whatnot. But that's something that in my life I would have never imagined in a million years, and I'm proud of that I made it happen.
Alright. Well, I mentioned before, do you have any other funny stories you like to share, or you have any words of wisdom so while wrapping up?
All right, well, I think the words of wisdom is, eat right, be healthy, stand up straight, don't let your posture slouch, and just, go forward and work, work hard to reach your goals, because you can make them come true.